Hi guys, it's Joe and welcome to Fonehouse Online. Now today we're comparing the two titans of Samsung's Galaxy range, the brand spanking new S6 against Old Faithful, the S5. Now one is sleek and cool with a metal and plastic body, the other one is a little bit more rugged and durable. There's also a bit more going on under the bonnet in the S6. So let's take a closer look at the difference between these two premium handsets and see if the upgrade is worth your while. Okay, so let's kick off with design and build. Both handsets look fairly similar and it's the software that sees the real differences. However, the S6 is lighter than its predecessor at 138 grams compared to 145 and is a little slimmer to boot. However, its metal body upgrade with the glass back does leave it feeling a bit more premium than the S5. The S6 is also less rugged than its predecessor, and Samsung have done away with the water and dust resistant aspect. Now the S5 was a phone that was a bit rough and tumble and you felt could survive pretty much anything, hence being dust resistant and water resistant. The S6 looks a lot cooler and a lot slicker, but you wonder, maybe less robust with it. Moving on to the screen, and both handsets have 5.1-inch Super AMOLED screens, but the S6 does have a truly stunning resolution. We can't quite get over this. It comes in at a whopping 1440 by 2560 pixels. That gives you 577 pixels per inch. Pretty much the best of any smartphone around, setting a real standard for other manufacturers. It's basically better than most HD TVs that you get in people's front room. It's really, really that good. Now obviously the S5 still has a great screen, great resolution, but it really can't match up to those incredible figures. Now moving on to features, and both phones come with Gorilla Glass, meaning it's even harder to scratch up your precious handset. And in terms of internal fun, the S6 improves on pretty much everything the S5 had, but adds the capability to call over Wi-Fi as well. Crucial if you have poor reception but are connected to Wi-Fi, for example in a tube station. We think this is a really interesting addition. It also has access to Microsoft's OneDrive and OneNote, which are key for business users and something the S5 doesn't have. Now speaking of disparities again, the fingerprint sensor on the S6 has been vastly improved after Samsung got some feedback. It's much more intuitive, easier to use and effective now. Also the heart rate sensor has been completely revamped, works much better, as does the Samsung Health app. It's now a fully crafted lifestyle app that takes in nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, all that kind of thing, and gives you a guide to how to live a healthy life, something that you didn't quite get on the S5 version. Now let's take a look at cameras. Both phones have a 16 megapixel main camera, which is pretty darn good, while the S6 pips the S5 in terms of a front snapper with a 5 megapixel over its predecessor's 2 megapixel one. In terms of video, both handsets can shoot in a range of frame rates depending on where you intend the film to be seen, but the difference with the S6 is a variety to choose from on the front camera as well, meaning you can really customize your selfie videos or velfies if you like. Now, the big difference as well in terms of the camera is how good your photos are going to look on the S6. Given the resolution of the screen and given the power in the phone, your photos and your videos are going to look absolutely amazing on the S6. Don't get us wrong, it's full HD on the S5, but the S6 is really something else in that capacity. Moving on to performance, and while the S5 was upgradable to version 5.0 of Lollipop, the S6 comes with Lollipop 5.2 as standard. The real difference though is in the processors. Now in the S5, you had a quad-core processor which came with 2 GB of RAM. Now that's fine, that runs fast, it runs smooth, it's a powerful handset. The difference with the S6, it has an octa-core processor. Now 4 of those cores are at 1.5 GHz and another 4 are at 2.1 GHz. It comes with 3 GB of RAM as well. That basically means this is more like a computer and is going to run considerably faster smoother and be a more powerful and sleek handset to use no matter what you're doing in comparison to the S5. This is the area that it really massively outstrips its predecessor. It also has a maximum of 128 gigabytes of hard memory and comes with 32 gigabytes as standard, whereas you could only get a maximum of 32 gigabytes on the S5 altogether. Right, moving on to battery, and one of the criticisms of the S6 has been its underwhelming battery life. However, it should last a full day, but Samsung are really pushing the fact it recharges quickly. They reckon 10 minutes of charge will get you another 4 hours. To be honest with you, we're a little bit suspicious about this because we found it saps juice like you wouldn't believe. The S6's 2550 mAh battery is actually smaller than the S5's 2800, and the S5 has, on the face of it, a better battery life, but maybe in terms of the fast charging thing, that's where Samsung see the disparity being evened out. Both handsets also come with wireless charging capability. Okay, so let's be honest, the S5 was a great phone, is a great phone, it's a benchmark phone, but the S6 absolutely blows it out the water. It has specs that match and outstrip a MacBook Air 2, and it can be used as a computer. So honestly, the S5 is a perfectly good phone for anyone, but if you want a phone that's really gonna push the boundaries of what's possible, then the S6 could be for you. Just one warning, with all that technology and power packed into such a slimline unit, the battery life, of course, does suffer.